What's worse than vampires? Nazi vampires. But a close second is cultist vampires. Similar to episode 1.20 Dead Man's Blood, our heroes run across a nest of vampires on a mission. They have a hankering for some preview trailers and seek out an amulet that can show the future. This future, unfortunately, shows John dying, so he's got to figure out a way to cheat the system. He decides to just kill himself, but the producers won't let him die yet, and so bring him back to life to keep the timeline from getting too messed up. Oh yeah, and the alternate love interest for our main leads seem to be wising up to that something's weird going on. Probably helps that one of them seems to be infected by the bad guys. Well, I'll admit, it's hard for a show to have 2 5-shell episodes in a row. And let's get the most obvious out of the way first. Holy water does not work on vampires. I stressed in the past that I can be pretty chill on the character continuity as long as the show maintained the world's continuity. Well, Supernatural had 2 very clearly established rules for vampires. Dead man's blood hindered them, decapitation finished them off. And that was it. While the idea of Carlos dousing his hair in water and whipping it around in battle is an entertaining one, it would only be relevant against demons. It should have done jack and squat here. Heck, it's pretty questionable how much warding even works against vampires, but I'm not going to bore you with it now. I could make a pretty strong case from the mothership that warding in fact does not work against them, but I could allow it as an expansion of lore. But the holy water thing is just right out. That's going to cost it a shell on its own. I did adore a lot of the set design in this episode. This look of the vault, the way this locker room kind of reminds you of the old kitchen the boys had, but it's still a little different. Heck, even the shop they had to stop at this episode looked better than usual. Just really, the visual look to this episode was much improved. Now, this episode did prove one of my earlier points true. The show really should have kept Betty and that other guy around longer. It really needed to draw out the love triangle just an episode or 2 more, because then this reveal of them returning and being against our heroes would have more impact. Of course, I'm pretty sure we all predicted that Reporter Boy here was going to be Meg of the Winchesters. The real question is, was he captured by the Akrita before he went on that date with Mary? Or did he go on that date and then was captured by them in the hopes of getting close to her? Still, I like that the enemies here are attacking our heroes at a non-traditional angle and trying to work the system itself against them. It was one of my favorite parts of the Leviathan arc in Season 7, so now I'm curious whether the Winchesters can execute a similar arc better, or if they'll flop at it even worse than the Mothership did. I still have to wonder, if the box is destroyed and it's the only thing that can stop the Akrita, why don't the Akrita just go full steam after our heroes? I will grant, there's a plausible explanation here, like maybe the Akrita don't realize yet that the box was destroyed. However, I would appreciate the writing actually addressing that and talking about it. Like having the characters discuss that they've got to keep the box's breakdown a secret. Or maybe have them working on a fake box to bluff the Akrita. I mean, if you're in an actual war/conflict, one thing you do not want to do is to let your enemy know when you are unarmed. Everything else was fine. I mean, John's plan was pretty dumb. Why not just shock both of them while the vampire's biting him? But I've long ago given up on Hollywood's depiction of CPR. There's a reason the joke that in movies, CPR stands for clean and pretty reliable. Vampires, otherwise, are a fine workhorse monster to get things moved around as need be for the season. It still bugs me that our heroes still don't take extra precautions when dealing with these monsters. At the start, it was okay. They were surprised by them at the shop, but Have you ever thought about how all these seasons in the bunker, we never once got a Home Alone style conflict of our characters setting traps to hinder the monsters and give the humans an edge? That's what originally attracted me to Supernatural. And again, a complaint I had about the later seasons, that our main characters often worked and planned to try to gain just any slight edge they could in a fight against monsters that had serious advantages. In this episode here, we establish that vampires can rip metal off an armored truck with their bare hands, but little 80-pound Mary is going to drop kick them into the big empty? I mean, they don't load any dead men's blood in a crossbow. Heck, just bring a normal shotgun and blow out their kneecaps. Yeah, it may not kill them, but it could buy you those extra few seconds you need. Like I always say, writing is like a magic show. You want to convince the audience it could be real. When you don't have your characters apply their brains to solving an issue or to eke out an edge, it ruins the illusion that there's any sort of challenge in front of them. You show the hand of the writer too much, and that just reminds us that things are only going to work out or not on your say-so. That ruins any tension in the story. Also, I have to keep wondering, if Latka is such a pacifist, why does she keep going to scenes where there is going to be violence? But then we see her use a book to hit someone in this episode. Isn't that going against her pacifism? Isn't she breaking her moral code? Has there been any discussion between the writers about these characters? Again, everything was fine, competent, just not a lot to say. I mean, I was sad to see this cute redhead die. I was hoping we get to see more of her. That's why I'm going to give this episode a score of 3 out of 5, but it's a very good 3 out of 5. Like, this is kind of where you want your benchmark for average to be in a show. Now, had the continuity been tighter, the lead up to this episode more solid, and the action sequences more creative and less by the numbers, this could have been a 4 or 5 shell score easy. Still, it does seem like the back half of the show is now on a positive trajectory, and I am still looking forward to the next episode. I hope you'll join me for it then.